Hello, sports fans. Welcome to another edition of VetsPlusSports.com. This is your host, Terrell Davis, along with my co host, Mr. James Miller.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing this Thursday morning? Had to remember not to say Tuesday or Wednesday, but but hope everyone is doing well. I'll let Cool Beans give a shout out to our listeners before we get into this episode.
Yes, we like to thank those that come out to listen to the live and those that will actually come back on and watch the replay. We thank you for that. And for our audio listeners, we thank you for listening. And we have cities like Los Angeles, California, San Jose, California, Boardman, Oregon, Brussels, Belgium, and Grinzak Weilen, Germany. Also, Falkenstein, Germany. I got to go ahead and include them in the German cities. And Ashburn, Virginia.
And thank everybody for listening and tuning in. This is a little different on a Thursday for us. As you know, this is something we just do on the side. Life happens. We've had to change it a couple of days, but here we are, and I'm excited to get into some of the stuff that's going on right now. You got the playoffs, championship in women's NBA, playoffs in baseball, and then all kinds of news going with the NFL this coming this coming past week.
Yep.
But now with the women's NBA, you got Liberty went up 2-1 last night in Minnesota. Um, we was on the air Saturday, so Sunday Liberty tied that series up 1-1. They beat the Lynx 80-66. Williams from Minnesota had 15 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists in that game, and Stewart had 21 points, 9 boards, and 5 steals. And then last night was Minnesota's chance to take the lead in the series, and it was a game. I didn't get to watch it. I seen the highlights. Um, Liberty ended up winning 80-77 to take a 2-1 game lead, and now all they need to do is win the next game, and they got Liberty's got their first championship in there in New York.
Wow, that's be their first championship
I think
in
so. Yeah.
27 years.
Well,
They're playing like the real New York Knicks.
Stewart for New York, she had this. You ready for this? 30 points, 11 boards, and 4 blocks. And then Collar for Minnesota was 22 points, 9 boards, and 5 steals. Um, in Minnesota, they was interviewing the players before the game last night, and they said they must end it in Minnesota because they know if it goes back to New York, they're not going to win it. And
Right.
now they got to win their next game or it's over. So
Yep.
they're going back to New York if they're going to win it. But that was a good game. Onescu, I think it's how you say her name. She hit the step.
Lanesco.
Anesco. She hit the game-winning three with a second left in the ball game, and it was a big three, a step away. Uh, she was guarded tight and heavily, and she done a sidestep and made the three to. If she didn't make that, that was going to overtime. But she ended it. She ended it in regulations. So that's where we're at right now, and they play Sunday at New York. Yeah. Well, let me see. It's Sunday. Yep. No. Here we go. Let me back up. What's today's date?
Today's date is the 17th.
Yeah. Okay. They play Friday at 8 p.m. And we'll see if Minnesota could tie it up to force the next game, which would be Sunday, I think, and it would be. Um, so if Minnesota would win Friday, they'll be playing again Sunday at 8 p.m.
Hmm, cool beans.
And then there's been preseason going on with the NBA. I don't know if you want to touch on it yet or not, or just move right into baseball.
I'm kind of worried about the NBA preseason, and the only reason why I'm worried about it because each team they get to play 5 games, right?
Hmm.
The New York Knicks, my New York Knicks, was 4-0. I didn't watch it lately, but last I known it was 4-0. I mean, like, okay, y'all are like winning these preseason games. I'm kind of scared y'all gonna be doing horrible during the actual game.
And two, what I've noticed too, also seeing highlights of these games, it's like they're playing like I know it's preseason. They're playing like exhibition games. They're doing stuff that they would never normally do in a regular season, as far as passes and just out of the ordinary stuff. So it's just like they're out there having fun. So
Right? Yeah.
so I can't remember what game it was. They did like a 3/4 court bounce pass for a layup that you would, and I don't know how it got by through the defenders tried to stop it, but it got by him and through. So I mean, it's stuff like that they're trying that you wouldn't normally do in a regular season game or even a playoff game.
Right. And
So, but that's just highlights I've seen there.
And it's just like they I've been watching other shows and they've been talking about Bronny James. They're talking about something at this point, he can't even go to the G League. He's talking about something he is garbage. I'm like, ooh, wow. It's just horrible.
Maybe
They
that's
have
the
him averaging but then again I'm looking at because preseason because LeBron is averaging during the preseason 6 points a game.
yeah.
Bronny's averaging 2 points a game.
We'll see what happens. But I don't know. Well, I don't know what happened. We lost Beans there, but we'll continue there. There he is. He's back on. But the NBA will be starting here the next couple of weeks. Be starting their regular season, and we'll see what happens with that and what goes on as far as Bronny James, and LeBron. But um, but we'll get good here and dive into. Hey Beans, if you can hear me, you got a squelch in the background.
Here I'm having an issue.
So I'll continue with what he's got. We'll get here with the NBA. The MLB in the playoffs. Sunday, you had the Dodgers and the Mets playing Game One of the NLCS series. The Dodgers took that game 9-0. And then Monday, the Mets bounced back, taking Game Two to tie that series up 7-3. And then in Game One of the ALCS, the Yankees beat the Guardians 5-2. And then Tuesday, the Yanks beat the Guardians 6-3 to take a 2-game lead on in that series. And then last night in New York, the Dodgers pounded the New York Mets 8-0. And that is where we're at. And tonight, you have the Yankees and the Guardians playing Game 3 in Cleveland. Cleveland is in a must-win situation because they don't want to get swept out of this series, especially be losing the next 2 games in Cleveland. And then you got the Dodgers in New York. It's 2-1 lead from the Dodgers. I'd say my guess the Mets will take this game to tie it up 2-2 going back to LA. And maybe there may be another game in the Mets in New York. So with that format, but to me, I think it would be a little interesting. I'm not a Yankees fan, but I think it would be interesting to see the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series, to see Aaron Judd against Tani playing. I think it would be a good series, a good matchup, and we'll see what'll happen. That would be interesting there to see that matchup. Also, because I mean, you got two rare players that we're watching now in Major League Baseball, and it's a rare, especially I'm getting ready to turn 43, and to me, just from what I've watched growing up, these two here are probably the two best baseball players to ever play the game, and I'm gonna say Otani. It's probably the best player athlete since Babe Ruth. You look what he's doing. He's pitching. He's hitting. Um, he went for the 50-50 club, stealing bases and everything else. So he's a rare talent. And then you got Aaron Judd. Um, but we'll see what happens. They play tomorrow night at 5 o'clock is the Yankees and the Cleveland, and at 8 o'clock is the Dodgers and the Mets. So y'all tune into that to see the outcome of that game and see watch. I mean, watch if you ain't seen Otani play, just watch him, man. He's a rare talent. Um, I mean, to me, watching baseball growing up, the best swing ever was Ken Griffey Jr. He had the sweetest swing, the smoothest swing, and I think Otani's right there with him when it comes to that, with his bat and everything else. But just tune in and watch him play, and watch Aaron Judd. Both of them are, like I said, are rare talent players, and especially to see two at the same time. And they could meet in the World Series. So we'll see what happens. Moving right along, I don't know if Beans will be able to get back on. He was having technical difficulties before we started. That's the reason we got started a little bit later than 11. Um, but we'll see what happens there. Uh, I'm going to touch up on a few things. We'll go to college, and then when he gets on, we'll go over um, we'll do our picks and everything else. But I will go over this um, for our college picks last week. I'll get flipped over here. You know, Beans is wearing me out. He's been wearing me out on the college picks. I went 13-5 on my picks. He went 14-4 on his picks last week. And then in the NFL, which he don't know it yet. He don't know it. What I tallied up his picks, and in NFL, he went 12-2, and I went 10-4 on our picks. But we have in college coming up. You got some big games coming up this weekend and everything else. And starting Friday night, man, I've been having a lot of big games, but ranked teams on Friday night and stuff, kicking off the week out, which is pretty good, I think. You know, seeing ranked teams playing on Friday night gives you a better chance to watch them and see what's going on and everything else. Um, so for this Friday night at 8 p.m. on Fox, you've got Oregon and Purdue playing. Um, to me, I don't think this should be a game. I could be wrong, but Oregon is traveling all the way to Indiana from the West Coast to the East Coast. So it may start out pretty slow at first. I don't know, but I say Oregon should win this pretty easily when it comes to this game. Also, you got Oklahoma State that same night at 10:15 playing BYU. After watching my Mountaineers run all over Oklahoma State, which Oklahoma State was supposed to be a pretty decent team this year and was one of the picks to win the Big 12, which that's not going to happen. I say BYU should easily win this in Utah there. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Saturday, here's a game here that Beans and I are going to be at in Morgantown. Number 17 K-State is playing in West Virginia. West Virginia has some miscues last week against Iowa State. But I think West Virginia has the opportunity, if they don't turn the ball over like they did last weekend, If they didn't turn the ball over last weekend, they probably could have won that game. And I think they can win this game here if they do not turn the ball over. Welcome back, Beans.
How's it going?
All right, done went through the NBA. I mean, the baseball, talked about it and everything. Just got it started with college football and just started speaking on it. But right before you came back on, I was telling everybody we went through our picks last week. Um, in college, I went 13-5. You went 14-4, so you got me by one game. And then in the NFL, you ready for this? I mentioned this. You went 12-2, and I went 10-4 in our picks in the NFL.
See, the bad thing is I need to do this in fantasy football because I am doing horrible in fantasy football.
Yeah, yeah. But it's your first year doing it, ain't it? Fantasy.
fantasy, I did fantasy football last time I did it. Pretty much the internet was a new thing and everything was like free,
Yeah.
and it was back in the '90s something, and I haven't done it since then.
All right. Um, and what I was doing, and I just got to started talking about some of these games in college, and we'll go ahead and do our picks as I talk. Start back with these. This coming Friday night, there's two games on. You got number 2 Oregon playing Purdue in Purdue, and I mentioned before you got on here, Oregon's traveling to Indiana. Uh, Purdue's 1-5. This shouldn't be a game, but it may be a slow start from the travel. But
Yeah, I
I'd
think
say towards the end, the Ducks will probably pull away pretty easily.
the Butt Ducks better do that if they want to stay number 2.
That's it. And so, and then we'll see what happens there. And then the same. That's at 8 o'clock Friday. So who you got winning that game?
Ducks.
Okay, that's who I got. So yeah, I figured you would. Um, then Oklahoma State is playing number 13 BYU in Utah. BYU, I got them winning that game. West Virginia ran all over Oklahoma State. So I figure BYU will take that.
Yeah, I'm going BYU. I'm shocked. I'm like BYU is up to 13 now. I'm like, okay.
And then the game out, this is where you came in at, is number 17 K State in West Virginia. We're going to be at that game.
Hmm.
Um, if West Virginia does not turn the ball over, I think they can win this game. They turned the ball. They had 2 turnovers last week against Iowa State that killed it for him. You can't have turnovers, but they looked good for the first quarter and a half last week. But when it comes down to it, y'all have heard me say it on here. I'm just not a big fan of Neil Brown, of his play selection and his coaching. Um, but we'll see what happens. Be a nice win for him. Knock them off. So, but we'll see. I picked WVU, but you never know. Who you gonna go with?
I'm going WVU. I'm gonna write it out on WVU. Here's my thing. I remember talking last week. Did K State win?
Yeah, K State won. They've only lost one game.
So they're still ranked.
They're still ranked 17th. They're 5-1.
So West Virginia needs to beat them.
That'd be nice if they can knock them off
Yep.
because West Virginia's only got right now one loss in the Big 12. So, I mean, if they can continue to win, say just they could win out with the one loss in the Big 12, that would put them still up there at the top for the Big 12 championship. The next game is Miami in Louisville. Number 6 Miami in Louisville. I picked Miami on this.
I hate Miami. So I gotta go Louisville.
You're going Louisville. And then you got Clemson playing Virginia in Clemson. Clemson's number 10. I pick Clemson on that.
I'm with you on that one.
And then here's one here. Nebraska's playing number 16 Indiana in Indiana. Indiana's 6-0. Nebraska's
Indiana.
Nebraska's 5-1. But we'll see what happens with that. So you're going Indiana as well.
Hmm.
Then we got Auburn playing Missouri in Missouri. Auburn's 2-4. Missouri's ranked 19th. I went with Mizzou.
I love Auburn, but I think Mizzou's gonna put it on them.
And all right, you ready for this? There's two teams in the top 25 that wasn't there and probably ain't been there for I don't know how long. You ready for this? You got number 23 Army is playing East Carolina. So, you know who I went with. Go Army.
I figured you would. I didn't know that was that. There was something I didn't read it. I was just flipping through, scrolling through the news, and it says something about the Army and something about Navy. Don't tell me the other two is the other one is Navy.
Yes, they're in the rankings too.
That's what it was. I didn't read the article. I just was flipping through.
So I picked Army on this one.
I'm going Army because I don't think you said East.
East Carolina, it'd be ECU.
Yeah, I don't
They
think.
ECU used to be pretty good, but I don't. They're 3-3 right now, so, and they're playing at Army. So, and then here's a game here that I'm not. The next game, number 7 Alabama at 11 Tennessee. I went with the Vols. I went
Ooh.
with the Vols because they're our closest neighbor. Alabama ain't looked good the last two games. Alabama should have lost last weekend if it was any count for the coaching or something or whatever. But they Alabama should have lost last weekend, so I went with Vols.
You know what? I think I'm going with because this is also Bama also has a new coach. Michigan has a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
These are what we call in the NFL. They call these rebuild years, and usually during rebuild years, you don't do nothing. I'm going
No,
with Tennessee.
Tennessee. You're going with Vols as well. Let me get this here. I'm trying to get my little buddy back up. He was asleep. He just woke up. And see if I can't get him put in his bouncer here.
Right. He wants
And
to be on camera. He ain't
that's
gonna go
it.
for that bouncer.
No, he's been watching you talk and he was liking it. So he's wanting to get on the podcast and make his picks.
I can read his little mind right now. He's saying, "I'm going to replace my daddy on this show."
And then now we've got you going with the Vols as well on that. All right, then you've got Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. Notre Dame's ranked 12th. Georgia Tech is 5-2. I went with Notre Dame.
I'm going with Notre Dame. I actually like Notre Dame, but the thing about Georgia, I'm like, they are Georgia Tech. They do what you call it. Those rank killers.
Yeah,
They'll knock you off.
they will. They will. And here's a game that number 24 Michigan is playing number 22 Illinois at Illinois. And here's the thing. I went with Michigan on this. I may switch it to Illinois. I don't know yet.
I'm going Illinois.
Um, I may
Now,
leave it. I may leave it with Michigan, but I ain't gonna be surprised if Illinois don't knock them off.
yeah, I hate that they dropped Michigan when off that loss. They dropped them all the way back to 24. But I'm like, wow.
Say that's where I talk about. I mentioned it before. They bring in the politics into this ranking system. They got their few favorite. They keep up there. Alabama didn't hardly fall when
Mhm.
they should have. Georgia didn't hardly fall when they should have. And then you get look at Utah. Utah's not even ranked now, so they're
Yeah.
out of it. So which is I ain't going to complain. So all right, you ready for this next game? Number 25 Navy's playing Charlotte at Navy.
I'm going Navy. I gotta
I,
go with my boys.
I picked Navy. I think they will. All right, then you got Texas A&M playing Mississippi State at Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State, if I'm not mistaken, was the one that about knocked off Alabama last weekend, right?
Yep.
Or,
I think it was Mississippi State. Yep.
so They're 1-5, but I'm going with Texas A&M on this.
A&M, yep.
Then you've got LSU at Arkansas. LSU's 8 in the country. I went with LSU.
LSU and Arkansas. Now, Arkansas, didn't they upset somebody?
Nah, I don't know. They're 4-2 right now, but
I think I'm going to go LSU.
LSU. All right, and here's the big game of the weekend. Now, my mind's telling me right now that this is probably not going to be a close game. It's in Texas. Number one, Texas is playing number 5, Georgia. I picked Texas. I think Texas is going to blow them out of the water.
Yeah, Texas. I'll take Texas on that. I'm like, who? It would be nice if it was a blowout, but
Oh, I
number
hope it is.
5 Georgia. If they get blown out, they are out of it. They'll probably get knocked back to 20 something.
Nah, they'll go back to 10. I'm telling you, I've seen it. I've seen it too many years. The SEC teams get their privileged favorites no matter what. Even though if they blow them out, they shouldn't be in the top 10, but they'll probably just fall to 10 is all they'll fall. So he agreed with me. So now the next game is UCF at Iowa State. Iowa State's number 9 in the country. I got Iowa State.
Iowa State.
Then we got SMU. They're ranked 21st in the country, and they're playing Stanford at Stanford. I went with SMU.
You know, I go for them Texas teams. I'll go with Stanford if it was like a lawyer debate, but it's not.
Stanford used to be pretty good at football. Here, the last few years, they have not done too well. See, Christian McCaffrey, I think he came from Stanford.
I think you're right on that too.
So I think that's probably the last time they done any good was when he was with them. So he since he's left, they ain't done nothing. All right, here's a game in the Big 12. These ain't ranked, but they're Big 12 teams. Arizona State at Cincy. Arizona State's the one that beat Utah last week. They're 5-1. Cincinnati's 4-2, but they're playing in Cincy. I went with
I'm going
Arizona.
Cincy.
You're going Cincy. Then here's one here. You'll be proud of me. Houston and Kansas. I went with Houston on this.
Houston.
Texas team. And then Colorado's playing in Arizona. Colorado's 4-2. Arizona 3-3. I went with Dion on this.
Yep, going Dion.
And then Baylor is at Texas Tech. Baylor's 2-4. Texas Tech is 5-1.
Yeah, Texas Tech gonna slaughter them.
I went with Tech. And then TCU. You ready for this? TCU 3-3 is playing at Utah, who's 4-2 and is not ranked no more. They are not in the top 25.
And they're playing at Texas?
They're playing at Utah, but I still went with TCU.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Texas. I'm going.
And then I went ahead and picked 2. I guess Pittsburgh must be on a bye this week.
No, yeah, how many buys they get? Or did we miss them last time?
I went to the ACC, and I didn't see them there today. Now let's see, they won last week. Pitt did. They beat somebody because last week because they was talking about that in the West Virginia game.
Oh, okay.
I think we just missed a game. I think maybe when I was trying to pick it. All right, Virginia Tech and Boston College. I went with Boston College on this.
I think you're right on that one. I wanted to go Virginia Tech, but Boston College, they used to be tough back in the day. I can't go against them.
And then I went with our other in-state college, Marshall. They're playing. Let me get to their. They are playing Georgia State at Marshall. I went with Marshall.
Yeah, we're going with Marshall.
All right, that will be the picks so far here in college. So that's about it, I guess, right now with these talking about college and everything else. We'll get ready to move on to the NFL and talk about the news that's going on there. And if you want, we'll go ahead and get our picks out of the way. You smoked me last weekend. You almost went undefeated on your picks.
That was by pure luck.
It
I can tell you two of them losses. Well, one of those losses, I still
was your
stuck with
Cowboys.
Dallas. I
Your
know I stuck
Cowboys.
with Dallas.
And you said the Lions was going to win, but you had to go with your Cowboys. So if you'd have went with the Lions, you would have went 13-1.
Yeah, I don't know what the other one that I missed that week. I can't call it.
Well, I'll tell you real fast. I'll back up here. And you missed the Seattle game. Me and you both missed the Seattle game.
Right.
They played the 49ers. We both picked Seattle, and 49ers won. So now here, let's see. Tonight at 8:15, we have the Broncos and the Saints playing in New Orleans. But here's the key. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans still don't have
Car.
Carr. They don't have Olave, and they don't have Rashid. They're number 1 and 2 receivers.
Oh my God, no receipt. Ooh.
So their 1 and 2 receivers are down. Olave has a concussion. Rashid just had a surgery yesterday on his knee, so they don't know if he's going to be a couple games or the whole season out. I went with the Broncos on this. Broncos defense is pretty tough. Bo Nix is looking pretty good. So I went Broncos.
Bo Nix only has to play. He has to be a Trent Dilfer. He just can't mess it up.
That's it.
So I wanted to go Saints, but I think I'm gonna go with you and jump on that bandwagon of Denver because that defense is pretty tight, and Carr ain't playing, so they got to have because Carr knows them. Being from over there in Las Vegas, where before he got traded and everything, he would know that Bronco D. But you got some other dude because it's not
It's
Taysom Hill. I forgot.
Rattler.
Yeah, Rattler.
Taysom Hill's still out. He's still
Yep,
out hurt too. So it's Rattler. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Rattler played for Oklahoma.
he
Um,
did.
so Rattler's in there. But here's the next game we're going to pick. This is a tough one. The 1-5 Patriots against the 1-5 Jaguars. But here's the key. Now get this. This is in London, and the Jaguars have been in London for 2 straight weeks.
I know, because what did Chicago say when they played them? Jaguars like, losers stay in London.
So now here's the thing. I went with the Pats on this because May came in last week. He started out shaky with the interception, but he ended up throwing 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So now they got I think he's going to play pretty good. I think this quarterback. And now, like I said, when we started back in the spring and everything else, my number 1 and 2 picks of quarterbacks out of the draft, one was Daniels, JT Daniels, and then the other one was him, May. So if he gets going, look out. They may be able to make some noise. I ain't gonna say they're gonna make the playoffs, but they're 1-5, but they can make some noise. So I went with the Pats on this game.
I think this is the battle of second to last. Loser will be second to last because Carolina's always is gonna be last.
That's it.
So I don't know. It's like would Trevor Lawrence actually show some maturity and actually make that he's worth that money? I'm going Pats because I don't think Trevor Lawrence deserved that money.
No, he didn't.
So Pats make everybody agree with me that he didn't deserve that money. Go Pats.
All right, the next game is the Bengals and the Browns in Cleveland. I
Bengals.
went with the Bengals because the news out of Cleveland, if y'all ain't seen it, which I don't know how you can't, the Browns traded away Amari Cooper to Buffalo. I'm disappointed in my Chiefs that's who they were going after. That was their number 1 guy to go for was Amari Cooper, and they didn't get the deal done for some reason. I don't know.
I know what the reason was. I think everybody they're fighting against Mahomes getting that three-peat. No team has done it. So to help keep that to make sure that it doesn't happen, they specifically didn't trade it there because all they got was two draft picks for Amari Cooper. And I mean, like, is that his value? Because Dallas traded him to Cleveland for two draft picks.
And
And then they trade him to Buffalo for two draft picks. That's all he's worth is some draft picks.
I still think he's got a lot in the tank. That to me, I mean,
I do too.
and especially he could have made, which I think he's going to do good. And I mean, you got a gunslinger there in Buffalo. The dude's
Yeah.
got a strong arm, so I think he's going to help the Bills out. That's going to change that offense. Look out. But I went the Bengals on the over the Browns there. You did too.
And you want
Um,
to hear some more news about what Cleveland's doing?
what's that?
They're shopping Miles Garrett right now.
What are they doing? They're going to be a rebuild year, ain't they?
I think that's what they're doing. They're going to a rebuild year because weeks ago on the quiet side, they were shopping Watson and nobody was biting. Nobody wants Watson's contract.
No. And here's the thing that goes back to the Browns not being smart. Miles Garrett is probably their best draft pick in the last 15 to 20 years.
Yep.
Besides Chubb, I think they drafted Chubbs.
Yeah, they
So
did too.
so Chubbs, there's two picks. That's the only two good picks that they've had in the last 10, 15 years or whatever. And you're getting ready to trade him off. Um, which that was a dumb deal with Watson coming in. That wasn't too
It
smart.
was.
But we'll see what happens there. The Browns are going to finish last in that division. And here, oh man, you ready for this pick? You ready here? I did it, and you got the Chiefs. And I thought they were playing at Arrowhead, but they're playing at San Francisco. The Chiefs are playing the 49ers this Sunday. I went with the 49ers.
What?
Yeah, yeah. All right, they're going to pick up a loss somewhere because they're not going to. There's no team that's going to go undefeated this year. I know that.
That's
Um,
true, but I
but
don't think it's this one.
um, it may not be, but I mean, who else would it be on down the line? Maybe they play the Eagles later on. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Chiefs do. Um,
My
but
Cowboys will beat them.
they, them them Cowboys can be competing for a second or third pick. But yeah, I went with the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm still going Chiefs. That's a weird one. I didn't think that. I didn't see that.
Well, you see, and that's the thing though. A team will lose a game that you wouldn't expect. So that's the one I'm going to go with. But all right, the next game is Seattle, the Seahawks versus the Falcons in Atlanta. I went with Falcons on that.
Oh yeah, I'm going Falcons. Kirk Cousins is looking way better than what I thought. I thought he was going to be a bust. You know, when they get money and just came off an injury, they don't do crap. He's looking pretty good.
All right, here's a game here. The Titans are playing the Bills in Buffalo.
Bills. There was no need to complete that sentence.
And I've seen talks. See, I think they've got two receivers, good receivers, but Tennessee's where the receivers go to die.
Yep.
They got, if I'm not mistaken, they got Calvin Ridley and Hopkins.
Yep. And they also
And
got Tyler Boyd from Cincinnati over there.
well, they're getting ready to shop one of those first two, so they're getting ready to send him somewhere. But we'll see what happens there.
Hopkins better hope it's him.
Next pick is you got the Texans and the Packers in Lambeau. I went with Texans.
Texans. I hope they destroy the Packers. I can't stand Packers.
And then the Dolphins and the Colts in Indy. I went with the Colts.
Colts. Until Dallas trade Trey Lance to the Dolphins.
Then you've got the Lions are playing in Minnesota. Lions are 4-1. The Vikes are 5-0. I went with the Vikings on this. Lions could win though, but
I'm surprised. I was going Vikings too. I thought you was gonna say Lions. I thought you was gonna say Lions.
but that, here's the thing. Here's the thing too. I'll mention about the Vikings. They just got back this week. Their tight end Hawkinson,
Yep.
so he's coming back. You have Jefferson. You had Addison. You got Hawkinson. You got Aaron Jones in the backfield, and you got a pretty good quarterback in Sam Darnold.
Hmm.
So
And Lions lost they number one pass rusher.
they did for the year. I hate to see that. I hate to see that. He broke his tibia, so he's out for the season.
And the bad part is he broke it during a sack. Sacking Dak Prescott, he broke his leg. I'm like, what?
So that's I think the Vikings will win that. Here we go here now with the Eagles and the Giants in New York. I went with the Eagles. I was getting ready to pick the Giants, but they let me down last weekend, so I went with the Eagles.
As much as I hate the Eagles, I can't bet on no Brian Dable. He will screw it up. No, I'm going Eagles.
So, and then we see here we've got the Raiders are playing the Rams and at LA. And here's the thing. I went with the Rams on this. The Raiders are 2-4. The Rams are 1-4. The Rams get Cooper Kupp back this game. So Stafford's got somebody to throw to. The Raiders just sent away Devontae Adams, and ain't it kind of funny how he's been out with the hamstring the last 2 or 3 weeks, and
Oh
now he's
yeah,
playing
now
this
it's
weekend.
fine.
Yeah, he got traded. Oh, he's ready to go. He's good to go.
My hamstring is perfectly fine.
Killing me in fantasy, buddy. He was killing me. But I went with Rams.
Yeah, I'm going Rams.
And then we got the Panthers and the Commanders. Oh, this may be a real good game. I went with the Commanders on that one.
Commanders is gonna make a highlight reel that game.
And then here we go. Monday night, the 2-4 Jets against the 4-2 Steelers. And
I'm going Steelers.
I went with the Jets.
I knew you did.
Aaron Rodgers got somebody to throw to now. Well, he had Garrett Wilson. So now adding Devontae Adams to me is going to open up Garrett Wilson more.
It will.
So I went with the Jets.
I got that Steelers D. That Steelers D is still pretty
It's
much
tough.
top now. As long as they don't go up against top offenses, which
Well,
I'm not counting the Jets as it.
I'd say right now the two best defenses in the league is the Broncos and the Steelers. As of right now. And then we got one more game. Get it right here. I think. No, actually, I'm saying you're wrong. We got two games Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night has two games.
You've got the Ravens playing the Buccaneers in Tampa. Man, this is a game it's a tough game. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Bucs.
I was gonna go with the Ravens, and the reason why I'm going with the Ravens, and this is funny that this is we're gonna start week 7.
Yep.
But even though they haven't rushed Derrick Henry like they should have been, well, they've started to pick it up. But did you know Derrick Henry has at least one rushing touchdown in each one of those 6 games?
Yes, because he's been making me some money.
Oh yeah, I forgot you got him in fantasy.
Yeah, so he's been doing excellent. So we'll see. Like right now, you ready for this? On the year, he's got 119 carries for 704 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, but
this is looking like another possible 2,000-yard season for him again.
Could be, because you got to think. Well, here's the thing: even though they got the extra game, if they're already in the playoffs, he ain't gonna play that extra game.
That's true.
All right, the second Monday night game is the Chargers at Arizona. I'm going with Chargers on that.
Oh yeah, Chargers gonna kill Arizona.
And that's our picks this week. You got the Bears and the Cowboys on buys this week, which the Cowboys need to buy probably the next 3 weeks. But they was on buy last week, so they've already been on buy 2 weeks. So,
Exactly.
and then old Jerry Jones, he was fussing and everything else. He's the problem.
He is, and that was where he threatened that man's job. It's like, talking about
Uh,
some, you supposed to ask me favorable
mm.
questions or what you got. I'll get somebody in here that will do it. And like, Jerry, this is your fault. I just hope the city of Dallas uprise and make the NFL make him sell him because he's not good. He needs to get out of there.
He needs to give it. If he's got a kid or if he's got a boy, he needs to turn it over to him.
Yep.
But this is where we're at right now. The two big trades that happened this week went to the same division. Um, the Jets are trying to save their season, and the Bills are trying to be contenders for the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And I don't know what the Chiefs are doing. They didn't make no move on them two receivers, and that's all the news that was coming out of Kansas City was Amari Cooper. But they threw in a deal after Devontae Adams, but the Raiders wouldn't even look at it.
Yep.
So that's what we got right now. Anything else you want to mention?
Moving over football, baseball. Da, 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 da. Nope. I don't. Oh, WNBA. We had talked about. I'm gonna let it unravel for a few more weeks about how they sabotaged that Caitlin Clark unanimous vote,
Mm-hmm.
and they're saying that Aja Wilson may have had something to do with it. I'm gonna let some news unfold, and then we'll go over it. We'll talk about it
Okay.
because if so, if she did have something to do with it, she should be suspended. But then again, they don't do nothing when it comes to Caitlin Clark. I mean, like you can just put your nails in her eye and they ain't gonna say nothing. It ain't even a foul.
No.
So
So I guess that'll be it for this episode. We got a few minutes left, but like we always do at the end of each episode, if you're thinking about hurting yourself or harming yourself, you can call that quick number 988, or that's the Veterans Crisis Line. It's 1-800-273-8255. Get in contact with them, and they will get you to the help that you need, or go to your local VA medical center for those that can, and go to the ER, and they'll direct you to the people you need to get in contact with. But you got anything else, Beans?
I got nothing.
All right, that'll be it for this episode. Y'all have a good weekend, and
Oh,
we will
no
be live
Saturday show. Yeah, it's gonna be
live
Sunday.
Sunday night at 9.
Yep.
Y'all
That
take
should be halftime during the Sunday night game. That should be about
Yeah,
halftime.
that's about halftime.
Yep.
So y'all stay safe, and we'll see you then.
All righty.